Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. Even though it's only the 24th right now, unless you're in Australia or New Zealand and them sorts of areas. So Merry Christmas to you. However, Christmas is one day early. We have been given the OEM bikes, well, 2 days early actually. They released on the 23rd. You're seeing this on the 24th. It's fine. So we have got all updated OEM bikes now. So this is MX1, MX2. It's got, I guess, the e-bikes have been messed about with a little bit as well as like the old two-stroke, so on and so forth. So this is going to be quite a short and sweet video, I have to say, because I'm now just finally getting everything finalised before I just log off my PC for a few days. And what I want to do, the goal of this video for me, is to try out one or two of the bikes that usually may not get too much love and see how they ride. So first off on the bat, right now, we have got the Suzuki. I am a big Suzuki fan. Not really in terms of how they ride, but more so how they look. I think the cockpit view is really, really nice. Just as a whole, I think the bikes are really cool, and I would love them to be more rideable in-game, if that makes sense. So obviously with the OEM bikes, each bike handles differently from each other. There's usually a meta bike, so before the time recording this, it's the KTM. It could change, it might still be the KTM, we'll see how things go. Part of me feels like the KTM will still remain on top because that was the preview bikes. I think people have been practicing with it quite a lot. But that's what we're here for today. I'm going to dabble through a few. This video is going to be solely on 450s. I am a 450 rider at heart, but if anybody would like to see a 250 video at some point, then by all means, let me know. And even in the new year, I could do an entire set of shootout videos to see how they all perform on indoors, outdoors, pros and cons of each. More than happy to do so. The point of this video today is just a quick little taster, a little quick session. So I'm on the aerial test track right now. This track uses the template that we're probably going to be using for the Supercross season, made by Stone Rider. So I thought it'd be a good test straight off the rip. And around this track, usually I feel fairly comfortable on the Suzuki. Stock Suzuki suspension, for whatever reason, absolutely munches the whoops on this track. I don't know what they've done to it, but it's a beauty. The only thing that it does have a little bit of trouble with usually is just its raw speed, like how quickly it turns, and the acceleration was a little bit on the slow side. So interesting to see how that carries over. What I'm noticing right now is going from the OEM preview bike to this feels like it turns a little bit tighter than the KTM preview did. Now, there might be a reason for that. If I go into the garage, we don't have all the standards, you know, like medium, sand, mid-soft, 3 different types of each. We've not got that anymore. We've got OEM 90, OEM 80. Now, 80 and 120, I believe, was the standard on the preview bike. So the fact that I'm currently riding 110 and 90 could have something to do with the adjusted turning. So I'm actually going to put that theory to test. I'm going to go to 80 and then 120, and I'm going to go to the track and see if we have any of those understeering issues like I did on the preview bikes. Now, I like that we've still got a little bit of customization there. You can choose the tyre that suits you best. I am more of a fan of not having to mess around with like sand tyres or mediums or mid-soft all the time, just having 1 or 2 tyres that are capable of riding on all surfaces. Sounds good to me. Like I don't mind that. I like having a little bit of the guesswork taken out of it, so there's not going to be quite as much testing involved. No, it still feels like it turns better than the previews did. So I'm interested to know if that's a Suzuki geometry thing or if that's just further changes that they've made. So one thing that I've noticed, I used the KTM preview bike again today for another video that I was recording, is in bowl turns specifically, if you're trying to really get the bike cranked over to exit a corner, the front has a tendency to wash on you if you're really trying to force it, which is all well and good. I believe that should be the case. If you're trying to push the front end too hard, it should tuck on you. But then it's kind of like, it forces you to slow down quite a lot in places that you wouldn't usually expect it. So in some places, like, you can overjump and flatland things, no problem at all. The bikes are really, really capable, and the suspension's really, really good for that sort of thing. And then in others, it feels like you've got to like really check up and take your time. So it's a whole new different way of playing the game, which I don't mind. I feel like every time we get a new OEM full release, it does kind of take, you know, a month or 2 for people to find their flow again, get their heads around the game. Can I get this triple in? Can, yeah, no problem at all. So I don't feel anything that's limiting me right now. And genuinely, if you used to sit there and be like, put your finger on what the bike's doing better, I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you the answer, but it feels better. It could be placebo. They could have done absolutely no changes to the Suzuki at all, but right now I'm enjoying it. So it munches the whoops with stock suspension on. I mean, as much as you can munch these whoops, they're fairly difficult. Stepping on, no problem. Running the 110 rear tyre, right? Well, actually, this is the 120. But when I was running the 110, it still felt like it had a good amount of grip. So there could be some messing about there to determine really if you want to ride the 110 and have more straight line speed, if you want to run the 120 and have more corner speed, it'll be a little bit different. So I'm going to go try another bike.
For all of you passionate gamers, you can now get 20% off all G Fuel products worldwide by using code LINS at checkout. And for any of you motorheads looking for some new drip or apparel, use code MXPR_LINS15 fxrracing.eu to get 15% off. All links and codes are in the description down below. Enjoy the video and drop a cheeky little like and subscribe.
We are going to move over to the Honda because I absolutely thought the Honda was pants in the nicest way possible. Before this update, I thought it was god-awful. I have no idea what happened to it, because the update before that, as a lot of you know, I absolutely adored the Honda. I was using it for a lot of the GP races in the 2023 season, really enjoyed it, and then I'm not sure what happened, but it just felt like it couldn't turn anymore. So that 120 tyre is very grippy. We are going to try the Honda now. This is on Mouse Moto Park, and I feel like this isn't a terrible track. It's a very high speed one. It's got a lot of rough stuff to it, so I feel like we can put both the turning and the stock suspension to test here. Now, ideally, all I want out of this update, realistically, I don't really need... I mean, the bikes are a lot faster anyway, like 5+ seconds a lap on tracks like this, faster than the old bikes were. All I want out of this update is to have more viable bikes, in terms of not just a sea of KTMs on the grid. I'd love to see different bikes out there, because I've been trying to mess around on different bikes a little bit. Like, I vibe with the Fantic from time to time, I like the Suzuki from time to time, but then they just kind of let you down when you need it most, with like the weird front end tuck, or maybe just not quite as much power as you was looking for. So I'm very interested to see if things are a bit more equal now. It feels like it turns a little bit better than it did before, which is a big W. Again, I'm rocking this Honda completely stock. I have just changed the tyres, so we're rocking 120 on the rear and 90 on the front. I'm sure that there'll probably be a bunch of testing done by everybody. I'll probably sit here messing around with a few of the bikes ahead of Supercross, and then there'll probably be a last-minute video by someone saying like, this bike is amazing, here's the setup for it, and then everyone will hop on that. That usually seems to be the way things go in this game. I will follow the crowd for a while, even if it's like the first round or two of the indoor season, just to be in a good spot. And then, depending on how the season's going, I might experiment, might branch out a little bit more, try some different things. But right now, I haven't even completed the full lap yet. Honda feels so much better than last update. It really does. Getting glimpses of its former glory, so I'm a big old fan of that. Shall we try and... let's just try and really overdo it. Let's send this and land it to flat and see if it absorbs it quite well. I mean, that's pretty damn good, if you ask me. I don't feel like you can ask much more from it than that. That is stock suspension, absolutely flat landing the life of a big old jump, to be fair, and it's taking it like a champ. I feel like they've done a pretty damn good job on both the preview bikes and now this full release on kind of mitigating those Boso bounce effects that we become so accustomed to. Obviously, you can do things yourself to help it, like leaning forwards a bunch and landing on the back wheel and accelerating, blah blah, but to know that the bike's quite capable of it as well is like a big confidence boost. It might then feel like you can push the bike a little bit harder in certain circumstances. I know if we was to kind of hit that exact same jump on the last set of OEMs, or the set before that and before that, you're probably looking at an instant handlebar tuck, or at the very least maybe a backflip where the suspension like rebounds you back up to the moon. So I can't actually say anything negative about that. That handled that so much better than I ever thought it would. And I actually feel a bit faster right now on the Honda than I did on the Suzuki as well, which is interesting. Like, night and day difference. The Suzuki didn't feel too much different from what we did have. It felt a little bit more like nippy, didn't feel quite as heavy as it did on the old version. But the Honda, compared to its former self, big difference. So this feels actually really comfortable. So Honda, viable option so far. Next bike I want to try is going to be the Kawi. Now, I was really vibing with the Kawi on the last OEM update. However, you could feel how underpowered it was. Like, it felt really, really slow, and that's the reason why it handled so well. I wonder if that's the same case now, or if it feels fast. Because if the handling's still there, and it feels faster, well, we could be seeing some green at Anaheim 1. Now, I am aware that there's probably quite a lot of variables going on in this video as well. Just with me changing track each time, you know, like it would make sense to do it on the same track over and over. But that's not what this video is. This video isn't meant to be like a comparison on one bike to another. It's more so meant to be a case of just getting some, I guess, just first impressions of each machine to see how capable they are. I will warn you, if you have any previous setups on the bikes from the last pack, if your game will probably crash if you go to the track with those setups on, because the tyres are different to what they used to. So if you are having any sort of game crash issues, then please do remove it. Oh my god, I forgot that I've got the Supermoto. Look at this. Look what happens when I go into this corner, if you're wondering why my leg isn't coming out. I've got bloody Supermoto animations on a motocross bike. Oh my god, what's wrong with me? So we're going to try and get that out of my brain. I'm going to try and ignore that and still just ride the bike how it's intended. If this Kawasaki is good, this is going to take me right back to like beta 16 era. I remember just absolutely screaming the KX250 around the track everywhere. I mean, everyone did. It was the best 250 at the time. That would be a good old throwback. A little bit of nostalgia there, and I think a lot of the old boys would really enjoy getting back on the green bike again. I think Kawis look really nice as well, to be fair. You can get some really good sets of graphics on them. So this is going to be really hard, actually, trying to get these little animations to not distract me. So far, it feels good. It feels pretty planted in the turns. It doesn't feel slow. It feels fairly capable. I mean, these mistakes I'm making here are just me not entering the rut where I should do. It's not giving me any like weird front end tucks. I haven't noticed any of the handlebar shaking either, like the head shake that the last OEM bikes had, especially in like 180 turns at high speed. Feels very planted. Again, don't feel like that same amount of understeer that the preview bikes had. It feels like it kind of goes where it wants you to go. I'm kind of, in my already very limited experience, obviously within a couple of laps of using each set of tyres, I'm already vibing with the 120 more than the 110. We'll see if that changes between outdoors and Supercross, and obviously given more experience on them as well. We're just getting some raw reactions here. How's this handle bumps? It was a little bit stiff there. You saw me riding the front wheel for a while because the back end kicked up. I'm sure Reaperdoc will release a video or two in the upcoming days or weeks with a setup for each bike, so I'll wait for him to make my life a whole lot easier. And yeah, definitely give him a follow as well. I know he's already done like I don't even know, was it a shootout video? He's basically gone through all of the new bikes. I made sure I didn't watch it because I didn't want to spoil anything for myself. I wanted to kind of get some, I guess, a raw gameplay on each one for me. So far, so good. There's not been a bike that I've tried that straight away I go, nah, this ain't it for me. So they're kind of achieving what I want. All of the bikes right now seem quite capable. So I'm praying that we just get a rainbow of bikes appearing in Anaheim 1. It will look so much better on streams, like, and on the gates as well. A lot of these days, I don't bother downloading anyone else's like team packs just because they're all on the same bike anyway. Like, it doesn't matter. But you know, if everyone's going through the effort of using different bikes, that could be a completely different story. So we've done Suzuki. Well, I mean, everyone knows that the KTM is very good. I mean, that's what everyone's been riding preview bike-wise. So I'm not going to bother with that. We've done Suzuki. We've done Honda, which really surprised me. That Honda's night and day difference. The Kawi feels really good as well. Obviously, it doesn't feel as fast as like the KTM preview bike did, but it feels better than it did. That could be because of tyres, that could be because of geometry. It could even been made just a little bit faster. I have no idea. But I'm going to do something now that I'm not expecting much of. If they've managed to make the TM good, I'm going to be mind blown, because there's something about that bike that it just doesn't like being ridden. I'm going to try it. Wish me luck. This could be the downfall of the video. This could be the downfall of the pack. But so far, I've been very, very impressed. This is a good example about setups, by the way. So this is the setup that I was running on this track. This is the ECMO event track. You can see that it pops up with some question marks. So if you get anything like this, just change back to default, make a setup from scratch. Otherwise, your game will probably crash. So I'm going to rock 90 on the front, 120 on the rear. That's fine, that's fine. Do we have any different... oh, we've got some different mapping. Let's just put it on aggressive and just random buttons there. So I've chosen the EICMA Milan LAN event track because I actually have a fairly good understanding of how the TM should feel and how it rides on this track. So this could be make or break. This could be either really good or really bad. I am a fan of how the TMs look. I think it's just a great machine. I would happily ride one in real life if they weren't so damn expensive and parts for them were actually available. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So we have to stick to riding them in game. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the bike just never seems to ride well. So if they manage to make the TM ride well, then I feel like they've waved a wizard's wand here. But we'll have a little play around. We shall see. Now, can we just like triple out of this? That was incredibly easy to triple from the inside. I don't think I had that easy ever in my lead up to the event. I am going to see. You can quad into this section that has been very, very difficult for me to get. Let's have a look, see how this goes. Go cut down, seat bounce. Quad was easy. So the bike feels powerful. The tyres do feel grippy. I'm noticing on the TM it does feel a little bit understeery. Like it's not turning quite as tight as I would like it to. The front end does want to push out wide a little bit, but it's feeling much better than the TM usually does. Let's try and get through there. So right now, I can tell you within the space of a lap, TM is still the worst out of the bunch, but I knew I was going to be pushing things here. I don't know if the bike's even salvageable at this point. However, the other three that I tried up to this point, really, really enjoyable and a vast improvement over their counterparts, I guess. Their previous version. Is counterparts the right word? Probably not. Their previous version. So I'm very, very happy. I really, really am. I feel... Do I go for... I don't know if I want to go for each and every single bike. I feel that's a little bit overkill. I think I'll give the Yamaha a go as well, solely because I feel like the Yamaha has one of the most capable engines out of the bunch. Like the Yamaha engine is really, really quick, but for whatever reason in the last set of OEM bikes, I feel like I wasn't able to utilise it enough, whether it was suspension or geometry, I'm not too sure, but I'll do the Yamaha, and then I think we'll call it wraps after that. Now, I told you that I keep adding variables. How's this for a variable? Sand track. Sand track rather than a normal one. So now we get to see what these tyres are like on sand. The reason I've chosen this TFC Southwick is because I played it just the other day as part of one of the American Online Motocross Championship races, which I do have recordings of those motos, which I'll probably turn into a video at some point. The races were really, really good fun. That was a factory bike race, the factory 250s. It was actually fairly stacked. Had like Rex, had Cam in there, had Isaac, had Yorks, a whole bunch of fast people. So definitely check that out whenever that video releases. So I'm kind of semi-familiar with the track again. So it's not like I'm just going to be learning the track and learning new bike and learning new tyres. We're just going to see how the bike feels. Is it capable? I mean, the suspension won't be put to the test too much around here. It's fairly flat, but the tyres and just the general bike geometry and handling will do. And so far, it feels very, very smooth. It does feel planted. Let's see if I can get away with like hitting some of these faster inside lines. Cranked, stand up. Yeah, that felt absolutely fine. Even tried getting on the back wheel a little bit there. So plenty of traction. I'm not feeling the rear wheel trying to slide out. So far, the front wheel hasn't tried tucking on me either. Get a good amount of speed up as well. It's not like we're wheel spinning the entire time. Jump that quite far. Jump down to the outside around here. Can push the front end pretty damn hard here. But I'm able to push it harder now than I was on the factory bikes the other night. But I know they've got completely different like traction values to each other, so you shouldn't really be comparing the two. And I did just want to put, I might be a little bit late in the video to put a disclaimer actually, but please don't start factory versus OEM wars. That's not what this video is about. It's just there's new OEM bikes out, so I'm going to test them the same as whenever the factory bikes get updated again. I'll test them as well. You know, we haven't all got to go against each other all the time. We can just ride what we like, and I'm just sharing my thoughts and experiences as we go. And I just hate when people argue in the comments. I really do. I'm just sitting there just being like, boys, please. It's like you kind of helped me out right now by getting more interaction on the video and stuff, but everybody love everybody. Everybody love everybody. That's what we want to say. The bike is actually feeling really nice right now, like really good. I'm happy with the sand traction that we've got at the moment. I feel like this could definitely revive some of the sand tracks for us. I know some of them have lost their spark over the years with traction changes and bike changes, but so far this feels pretty damn good fun. And I'm gonna have to do a little bit of dabbling with this Yami on Supercross as well, because it handles really nicely. Like you can overjump stuff fine. I'm not getting any like front end head shaking corners. I'm pushing it pretty damn hard, and for sand, it's still tracking really nicely. So maybe going back to like last year's Supercross, I suppose, where we just had a bunch of Yamahas everywhere. I'm liking this. It's really good. Now, I did want to just apologise that I've not been able to sit here and go through every single bike, and this is only 450s, not 250s as well. I'm aware of that. Like, let's say this Yamaha is like a really good 450. There's every possibility that that could not translate over very well to 250s, and maybe the Yamaha 250 is bad. I'm not too sure. But the 450, damn good. We'll try them all out in the future. I'm a little bit pressed for time today, because in literally about 45 minutes, I have to go and pick my girlfriend up from the train station, because she's coming down over Christmas period. So I really wanted to get this recorded and all, like, hopefully get it edited together and then start the rendering before I pick her up. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you want me to cover anything in particular over this new OEM pack, then please do let me know, and I'll make sure to do that throughout the new year. Keep an eye on the channel over the next few days, because I plan on doing a few videos with her when she gets here, as well as at least one, maybe two live streams. We'll see how it goes. And again, thank you to the OEM boys for doing this. So far, 4 out of the 5 bikes I've ridden have felt really good, and then obviously the 5th one being the TM just feels mid, but I kind of expect that from the TM at this point. Definitely give these a try out for yourself. Let me know any feedback in the comments, how you feel about these bikes, and that's more so on do you like or dislike the direction and their handling, not you dislike them because you prefer factory, because that's not what it's meant to be. You are allowed to like factory more than OEM. You are allowed to like OEM more than factory. But we haven't got to start wars all the time. Just good, valuable feedback. That's all we need. We don't need to start hate wars. So that'll do it from me. Thank you very much for watching. And again, round of applause. These bikes feel like such an improvement over the last set. It's actually ridiculous. And Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year, all of you. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.